What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Shonen Showdown. I'm your host, Rob, and sitting to the right of me is...
What's good, everybody? Happy to be back. It's your boy, Jared Ross, a.k.a. Anime Sundays. We back at it.
And today, we're going to be talking about 7 deadly sins. We know how powerful Meliodas is, but we know he can't do it by himself. So we want to find out who is his strongest ally. So keep it locked. All right, Jared, let us know who is Meliodas' strongest ally.
All right, so this is a real tough debate here. I mean, Meliodas, the sins are not to be messed with. I mean, they all have a good role to play when he's fighting these demons and whatnot. But man, I'm gonna just have to ultimately say, and we might even agree or disagree. I'm gonna have to ultimately say I think that Merlin is the strongest ally to Meliodas. Now, I already know where we're going with this. I already know where we're going with this. So you go ahead and spit your.
Listen. I like the Merlin pick. Mm-hmm. And it's not a bad pick because that for me is, I think she's in line. If it goes Meliodas is number 1, I think Merlin is number 3 right now currently, based off of what I have just witnessed in this season alone. My pick is actually going to be Elizabeth. And
right, here we go.
And even stating someone, how I think Merlin is incredibly powerful. It blew me away that we found out that actually Merlin idolized Elizabeth at one point. Merlin was calling Elizabeth Big Sis, right? So we know there was a point in time where Merlin had, extremely high respect for Elizabeth. But it really we have to boil down and find out why she had this. Archangels.
Archangels.
Can't hold a torch to Elizabeth. Ludacil, in my opinion, can't hold a torch to Elizabeth. We know that not only does Merlin look up to Elizabeth, but you have Elizabeth having the ability to heal and remove curses. Listen. When it comes to Merlin, I think Merlin is an incredible mage, but Elizabeth can heal and restore anybody. Literally anybody. Better than any of the 7 deadly sins. Better than anybody. She's just unstoppable. And we know Merlin has a weakness when it comes to the power from the Demon King, which is what Zeldris uses. And we know that's Merlin's. That's her only weakness that I've seen so far. Right. But that is a weakness. Whereas I've seen Elizabeth being able to counter that and deal with that, not overcome it, but she's been able to counter it.
So I only have I have a couple questions. One, because what my understanding of Elizabeth is that she is a reincarnation. Is that not what she is? Current Elizabeth, is she not reincarnation of 3,000-year-old Elizabeth?
Yes. Due to the punishment that she received from fighting 2 gods, not one, 2 gods with Meliodas.
Right.
Let me know who's fighting gods.
You're right. And that, I guess that was the main dispose I had, because I wasn't sure if it was the same Elizabeth. You know what I'm saying? As 3,000-year-old Elizabeth. Now, don't get me wrong. Now that she is, because I believe she's back in using her powers, right?
She has a small window where when she regains her memories, she can start using her powers, her goddess abilities, and everything like that. But after that, her punishment is that she will eventually die.
Right. So, and that to me was my biggest hiccup with Elizabeth being number 2. Now, don't get me wrong, full goddess Elizabeth mode, definitely the top number 2 seed to Meliodas. I would even argue that almost as strong, if not stronger. You know what I'm saying? Because Meliodas is fighting.
Hold on.
Well, Meliodas isn't fighting all the archangels by himself.
Listen, Ludacil, right, Sarmil, and Tarmil all pulled up on him.
Yeah, they did.
They pulled up on Meliodas, and Meliodas was doing his own thing. And at the same time, listen. Elizabeth saw there was Dedi Eddie, right, and Monspeed. They each sacrificed 6 of their hearts. Yeah. And underwent that transformation to become the Indianas, right?
Yeah.
Elizabeth was holding both of them off by herself.
Yeah, you're right.
And all the archangels were getting tossed when they were trying to fight them. Lunacy was getting tossed. Everybody else was getting tossed. And Elizabeth is like, don't worry, guys. I got this. Meanwhile, it was quote unquote fighting because she was trying to save them. If she wanted to kill them, they could have been eradicated within seconds. Right. But Elizabeth said, you know what? I want to spare them because I feel bad about the situation that's going on. They're being deceived. I want to save them.
And, well, here's also a thing I have about Merlin. Now, I'm going to go in a little bit depth of why I do think Merlin is a good number 2. I mean, I feel like Merlin 1 is the most intelligent sin, if not one of the most intelligent mages we've ever seen.
I agree.
I mean, her strategy of just in general making sure that Meliodas could even put the 7 deadly sins together. I mean, she recruited Escanor. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she kept Meliodas at bay when he lost the love of his life the first time, and she had to steal his power. And of course, at first it didn't seem like the smartest move, but as we could tell, Merlin's wisdom is like through the roof for a simple mage. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, not simple, but I feel like her in Meliodas' corner all this time is the reason we have even been able to see Meliodas triumph in the battles that he has triumphed over. I mean, she killed Fraudwin and old boy with the
Grey Road.
Grey Road. You know, Merlin is, you know, saving King Arthur and keeping their kingdom basically at bay.
And that's a key gem right there, which is why it made it really tough for me because Merlin having King Arthur, she basically has Camelot under her command. With that relationship alone. Because King Arthur's her apprentice. Then at the same time, she has that infinity magic ability,
right?
Which is she could reuse a spell that she's learned only one time, and does not have to expend any magic power after that. After she reuses it. So I listen. I'm saying that Elizabeth is number 2 does not mean that I don't think Merlin is nice. I think Merlin's elite, and Merlin would be right. She would be the next up. But once Elizabeth is in goddess mode, when she regains her memories, she is literally like you can't like. But I personally could not see Merlin pulling up with Meliodas to fight the Demon King and the Supreme Deity. I don't think that would happen.
Absolutely, and you're right. I don't think that happened either. But I look at it more of as a now of a It is a weakness for her to not be able to be in full goddess mode often, you know what I'm saying? Or to a point where she is not risking her life for it. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's a weakness. You know what I'm saying? If the season continues, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more static with you know, the demons and the demon kings and Zeldris isn't done, you know what I'm saying? Like we have a lot more heavy battles on the way. And I just don't know who's gonna be more of the bigger asset when that time comes around, Merlin or Elizabeth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, let me follow that up with this, right? Elizabeth has shown the ability to hang in a fight with the Demon King.
Right.
We've seen that Merlin, when she countered just a little droplet of the Demon King's magic power, and it wasn't even through him; it was indirectly like transposed through Zeldris, right? Zeldris, she encountered Zeldris, and Zeldris used the Demon King's magic power, and Merlin's fainting, Merlin's falling down, getting sick. You know what I mean? They're like, Merlin, are you okay? And Merlin has to get healed. Like this is where I'm saying the degrees in their power are significant when it comes to that, because the Demon King is going to be one of the big, you know, villains within this series, whether he directly comes through or he empowers others, whether it's more, you know, him boosting Zeldris and things of that nature. And if Merlin can't even stand within the presence of his magic just because it's, you know, she can't be around it, right, that is a big problem. That, you know, Elizabeth on the other hand would be able to walk with Meliodas alongside him and fight in that sentence.
Isn't Elizabeth, but I also look at it as if like, okay, if Elizabeth is she will be able to hang in that larger battle, but at what consequence? You know what I'm saying? Like, at what expense is she gonna have to go to be able to basically fight the Demon King and his folks and his people without killing herself. You know what I'm trying to say? I feel like Merlin's wisdom, even though now we know she hasn't shown much of a good fight against the Demon King's abilities, I feel that Merlin's just, it's that wisdom of being that, like, you know, she's almost like the scientist in the group. You know what I'm saying? She's almost like the consistent, like, I'm thinking of a new plot, a new plan, a new spell, and I just feel like when that time comes around, I feel like she'll be ready. And I just don't know. I feel like her consequence, whatever she has to risk to hold her own and aid in that battle, I feel like Elizabeth's going to have to risk a lot more. And we know that if Meliodas loses his control over his powers again,
right,
who's going to be able to help him this time? Is it Elizabeth? Like, is she
it's
going to
be Elizabeth. I can tell you that.
Is she going to be able to calm him down? Well, not if she's dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think she's going to die, but I mean, who knows? Like, risking going against that curse that was placed on her, like, risking going against that. Right. It's a risky subject, especially when it's a lover too. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, when you're the main character's lover and you're doing a lot, putting your life on the line, I feel like at the same time you can be a big help, but you could also be a big hindrance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, and I don't like to go into too many what ifs, but I see a big, like, ultimatum. You know, like, I see it coming down to Elizabeth overestimating herself, Meliodas having to make a choice, his life or hers. Merlin, I feel like, is just too smart to get in that position. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the only reason I have her above Elizabeth, because I just think like that right here, plus her powers, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough, close battle.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, it's definitely close. But at the end of the day, Merlin still considers Elizabeth her big sis. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, you guys definitely let us know down in the comment section below who you think Meliodas' strongest ally is. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.